Welcome back to episode 6 of a Standard Moon series. So here we are, returned from a mining slash smelting run. So we did some mining and we smelt it up. We'll dump the common stuff in the middle there, and the nickel will kind of save that kind of special. One of the interesting problems with the moon scenario is no directly attainable carbon dioxide. And this is the reason why we've been saving all the waste gas from the furnace for a while now, which has a rather large quantity of carbon dioxide. It also has a bit of nitrogen acquired from smelting various ores and oxide. It has pollutants, and depending on the mix of oxides to volatiles, it may have a little bit of volatiles, it may have a little bit of oxygen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up 2 filtration units. One to pull out the carbon dioxide, second one to pull out the nitrogen, and everything else we're just going to dump in the atmosphere. I can't think of anything useful to do with pollutants on Moon. No reason using it as a coolant, which is what they typically recommend it for. So we'll just dump that out. And then we'll use the passive radiators on the CO2 to try to bring the temperature down. And initially we'll just monitor that, make sure it doesn't get too cold. So CO2 will liquefy around -9. And so for now we'll just watch on it as it drops. At some point later on we'll automate that cooling process. So here I am building, I built the atmospheric unit, built the nitrogen filters. Need a passive vent to radiate the gas we don't want. Also, while that's going on, we're expanding our hydroponics. The other thing we're doing, we're going to expand the base out by 2 rows. Make a little more room. Looking for anything I might have already so I don't have to print it up.
Hydration critical.
And since we're getting the hydration warning here, we'll go to our drinking fountain. This is so much nicer than filling water bottles and drinking water bottles and having stacks of water bottles. So let's shout out to the Stationeers developers for adding that feature. So definitely with all this growing, supplying this room with CO2 is going to be an ongoing issue. Once I expand out a bit, I will start collecting the seeds and saving the seeds as a backup. And see what can I can make with that. I can make I can make bread. I can make some kind of canned soy thing, which gives a 25% boost for hydration. I think the bread gives a 75% boost in hydration. And of course I can make baked potatoes. So in this episode we basically kind of expanded the hydroponic, expand the base. The next episode I'll go ahead and set up all the cooking gear and get that going. And then once that's going, then I'll take the rest of the cereal bars we have. We'll just kind of save those off. Collecting various pieces I need to go outside and do some work here. You also need a insulated tank. Actually, I need 2 insulated tanks. So I'm building the walls here. Well, I use walls for the windows, and I use flat walls for anything solid, just normal walls. And so I need to print a bunch of windows up for expanding the base out. So we kind of got these three things going in parallel for this episode. We adding more trays and expanding out the growing area. We're going to go ahead and use this gas we already have and pull out the CO2, nitrogen, and put those in containers and dump it, and then we'll start cooling the CO2. Also, we'll use that CO2 for the jetpack after that too. So the jetpack will only contain CO2 in it, so we can always use it within the base without a problem. So I gotta replumb all this. What I was doing is just having return gas going back into the tank itself. And we're going to change that, and we're going to loop it around. I think that's actually wrong. And goes the other way. We just have to leave some room for the cabling. I believe you can snake the cables up if you want to go that direction, but I don't like doing that, so we'll just add a little extra room for the power cables. All right, so this will be for nitrogen. And you definitely want to preserve the nitrogen. One, the soy plants need it to grow, and the second reason, you can make nitrox with it. So we definitely want to save that. Not sure if there's any natural generation of nitrogen or not. I believe you take food and you run it through the composters. That will generate nitrogen. So once we have an able food supply. So this initial, speaking of food supply, the initial hydroponic area is going to be manual. There will be another hydroponic area that will be fully automated. With a robot arm. I'm not sure if I use a robot arm. I'll use a robot arm. It's probably the cool thing to use these days. So we'll automate that. So we'll have the two hydroponics going. Once the robot stuff is taken over, we'll just get rid of the one up here. So this is definitely an action-packed episode. A lot going on. The second tank I forgot. I need 2 tanks. We'll need those to make the finish up making the atmospheric unit. I didn't want to add any more frames out here. So we're just going to kind of squeeze everything into this little area. At some point I'll have sort of a gas production facility, and then this all stuff will move out when that happens, but for now we'll just stick it here. Now the nitrogen, we won't bother doing any passive cooling initially. I don't have any immediate need for nitrogen, so it's more of a long-term saving thing. And so I'll just kind of just pump it in there. And the CO2, we want to lower that down because we want to bring that into the base. Although you bring it in slowly, the cooling system will take care of it. So because there's a lot of mass in that gas there, I can bring quite a bit of CO2 in there, and it'll only spike at a few degrees, even if it's pretty hot. Yep, I need a lot more insulated pipes for all that plumbing I'm doing. See, I don't need those anymore. And yeah, I'm finally gonna get rid of that little light there and put a waste tank vacuum system in there. So it's just a simple volume pump, and it just pumps whatever's in a canister out into the room. I don't like this opening my tank up because it really just exchanges the air back and forth. So I like to keep the waste tank more pure. So that way, anytime I mount a new waste tank, it's always empty, fully empty. Doesn't really hurt anything just to open the tank up like that, but one of my quirks. Yeah, for this, I found using the keyboard is real important. Just using the C key just does all kinds of weird things. So I think I just hit the delete key to rotate it, and that seems to work pretty well. And I hope everyone knows you can use the keys to three-dimensionally rotate objects without a problem. So we're just going to kind of snake these power cables around. I'm thinking, well, maybe I should go this way. Let's make sure the cable's not going to cause any problems. But this will be fine. I don't think I'll have any conflicts with anything else I'm building. My concern was I need to put a stack of radiators on there, and so, but I have enough room on that pipe to put it somewhere else. All right, so we'll turn this one on first, and we'll turn on that one. All right, so now we're sucking the gas out, pulling out the CO2, pulling nitrogen, everything else we're just going to dump into the atmosphere. And that's why it now says the external temperature is 381 Celsius because of the gas off-gassing. The solution to that is just run a pipe much further away, like run a pipe way up, and then you don't get the back gas while you're standing here like this. Trying to decide where to put this. What this will be for is filling my jetpack, and so I'll just set it to 8,000 or 8 megapascals, and then I can put a tank in it and fill it up, and then but before that I'm going to go ahead and take my jetpack and just dump the whole jetpack contents into the base. It just has CO2 and nitrogen in it. I need both in the base, so that's fine. And then after that, my jetpack will have pure nitrogen. Although I'll leave the green tank just to represent it's my jetpack, even though it doesn't really have nitrogen in it anymore. There's really no reason. I don't want to waste the nitrogen. The carbon dioxide is far easier to attain. So if we're going to waste anything, we'll waste that. All right, so I'm looking at some place to put a little stack, and then we'll just stick a couple here. So I go one more. I'm going to put two on there. One, for two reasons. One, I don't want it to cool too quickly. The other reason is I want room to put a pipe meter on there, which I've got to make and bring out here. Okay, so everyone's happy. So I just have to keep an eye on the CO2. Now, while it's continuing to fill, then we constantly have this hot gas coming in there. But once it empties out that main tank, then I have to make sure it doesn't get too cold. So So trying to maintain a pattern here. Okay, we have another gap, and there we have another gap in 6. And I actually have a purpose for that, a useful purpose for that. Trying to think what episode that actually will start kicking in. I think next episode it becomes more apparent. I'll be 7, and I think at 8 I'll be leveraging that space. And we'll put this here for consistency. We're not going to put airlock here, but I'm just having the space, just trying to maintain sort of the pattern. We'll just put a wall there now, and just, you know, a little flexibility. I tend to like to hang these. I'll get smacked by stuff flying around. You know, clean up the base a little bit. Looking for stuff I need to put those windows. It will have the same sort of pattern of mostly windows on the sides and the top there, and a little bit of section that's enclosed that'll have the solar units on top. See what's going on with my plants here. Got one soya that went to seed, but I'll wait till the rest of them. Okay, I guess we'll go back outside and do a little more construction work. So we're going to put windows down here this time. This will be a cool effect. And windows. I may at some point rip out all the iron windows on the other side and replace them, but I thought about doing a brute force method. What I mean by that is, instead of trying to put, you know, windows on the inside and take out the windows and just, you know, take out the L windows, you know, if it fell in the hole, and try to cover everything up. Say, well, let's just get seeds for all our plants, and then we'll put a. I'm doing the double hand thing. That's definitely much faster. We'll put a large power vent in there, and just suck everything, all the atmosphere out in the room into insulated tank. Basically bring it to a vacuum, and then rip out the walls I don't like, pop in the new walls, and then dump all the gas back into the room. Before I do that, I would have backup seeds, but I think I can do it quick enough without killing the plants off. They may even become a little hardier. And you have like 10 minutes, so you just have to run out of glass. Yeah, that solar power from the moon is quite nice. You don't need too much. Because I don't really have a lot of power demands. Cooling is effectively almost free. And because I have plenty of power, I can be a little more lazy about leaving equipment turned on. Yep, unfortunately, all those silicon runs is paying off now. While waiting for all that glass to print off, I figure I go ahead and add my waste tank emptier thingy. I already have a pump set up. Looking for stuff we have. Okay, we'll get rid of this dumb light. We'll save that for later. I definitely want to put lights in here. I just haven't decided how I want to lay them out yet. So, and it's really not. Now that I have my headlamp, it's really not a priority. And we need to restart our glass print. And sure enough glass, we'll do some more plastic. Plastic are cheap. Okay, so we're going to stick this over here somewhere. I think we want to leverage the wiring we have down the wall there. So go like that. Put the passive vent here. Loop this around a little bit. And then we use our utility pipe. It's upside down. Run some cables, and we have a way to fully empty our waste tanks. And you get a second canister, that way I can just swap them with one in my suit. And we're getting short on flat walls, so getting low on. We got a little bit more steel in there. I made a whole bunch of steel there and broke it up in 50s, and we've been burning through that stack. All this base expansion, I'm going to need to make some more steel here pretty soon. Okay, so we'll do that. It's empty. We swap it. Boom. And that's faster than trying to open your tank up and hope you don't open the wrong tank up. Oh, if you notice, some of the construction sequences seem to be a little fast. I went through some of the more longer construction sequences and 2x it. So like right now I'm running at 2x. So if you wonder how I put those down so quickly, that's how. Yeah, it's weird how the sun just, I swore at one point the sun transition, day to night was a more even, type thing. On the other hand, I haven't really done moon, so maybe the moon's always been like that. I'm walking the roof to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I miss something, I fall in. And then we'll kind of go down the window looking for the pattern, make sure I didn't miss anything there. Got walls everywhere. That window's good. Okay, so we got everything's enclosed. And we got a full battery. And that's what we're, the full battery at the end of the day means we had more enough time to charge it. I think it charges fully by noon. Okay. I will be getting a second battery up there, so we'll need to create some flooring because we have that big hole on the other side and we don't want to fall in. So we'll do the same thing. We'll create 6 flooring pieces and put them in there for now. Now you may be thinking that this is going to break my cooling system, my passive cooling system by enclosing the radiators, and that's true. That's going to be a problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just make progress. I'm just going to run the pipe all the way across and put the radiators back on the outside, And then at some point I'll move that stuff, but I didn't feel like moving all that stuff right now, so. Don't need our suit stuff on. Okay, let's crack this open. That's going to create a kind of a rush of gas here. And there goes our beacon. Yep, looks like we don't have any holes. Nope, not like that. Nope, nope, not like that. Take it off. Take it off. And these obviously air will pass through these, which is actually what I want. All right, so now we crank out all this stuff in the middle. Base is only 24 Celsius, so we got a lot of time before it gets up into a dangerous spot. Kind of staring at the radiators. Okay, so you pop those off. And I said, just for now, we're just going to run it across. And we'll do something more clever later on. But at least it'll still be working. It'll still be odd. Once I go outside and reconnect it from there. And we'll run it down instead of up. And so it won't block the view of the moon there. Okay, so now we have to take out the frames. Just the frames. Different style stuff here. Yeah, I think I can throw those iron windows into the trash bin there. I'm going to be using those again. Yep, and they go. Oh, I love this. This is so great. Until I have to clean up down there. What I need to keep and what I don't need. Okay, we'll keep that. We'll keep. Oh, I need the radiators from outside. I need those. That stuff going outside. Okay, we don't need those anymore. We don't need those anymore. And loving the fountain. So we're done with water bottles. I should probably grab those remaining water bottles and just go ahead and toss those in the trash. I mean, we can always dig through there if we had to, but we got some soy seeds. So they consume nitrogen. Fortunately, we have plenty of nitrogen in the gas here, so that sort of worked out. Yeah, this will get old really fast. Got a wheat. We actually have fertilized eggs in the some of the stuff. The initial lander items. And so I'm saving those, but yes, we'll be raising chickens. I believe, I hope they can feed them wheat or soy, one of the two. I gotta double check what they eat. I know they don't eat potatoes. So, assuming they eat soy or wheat, then we have everything we need to get the chickens going. That gives us eggs. And so we have eggs, flour, soy oil. I'm not sure what else we can make with that. But chickens won't be allowed on this area. We'll have a special area for them, keep them controlled. That way if they get out of control, we just open the window and blow them all out. I haven't done chickens in like a million for a long time, so I think you gotta feed them now, I believe, and so they're not so out of control as they used to be, and they just multiply forever. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and dump my waste tank. My jetpack. So original jetpack, we'll empty that out. Top off our O2. Okay. Room's inching up without my cooling system attached. And once we drain that, we'll just go outside and just pop it into that charging station I have there. I don't know why I put that there. I just want to get all the nitrogen out of there, so it's just pure CO2. Yeah, my little automation is turned on because it's a little too warm in here, so it's trying to cool down the base and nothing's happening. There's no radiators outside. Okay, still gotta figure out a better place to put the headset. I do want to make a suit rack at some point, so maybe something to do with that. And don't really need to turn all that off. Okay, so let's go outside and do something useful. First thing before we jump off, and it helps to plug it in, I guess. And while that's filling, let's go check out what's going on here. Okay, we're down 188. Okay, nice CO2 there. Now the world is obviously showing gas because the vent is too close to all this stuff. Which is really not a big deal at this point because it's a very few moles that are floating around, so they don't really impact you all that much. And not like I don't have massive amounts of O2 and I can easily dump my waste tank. So okay, so that's dropping. We're gonna, that doesn't need to be super full. So we have to just keep checking that pipe every so often, make sure it doesn't get too cold, and then and at some point say we'll automate all that. All right, so let's get our radiator back working again. Yeah, just having those three seems to be more than enough to keep this base cool. As I said, if we ever had, too much heat demand, we'll just increase this and put more on. So, all right, let's do some mining. So specifically what I'm looking for, I need to grab some volatiles, which I just did because I used all my volatiles up. The other thing I need is a whole bunch of oxide because one, I need some oxide for smelting, and I need some oxide to bring the pressure of the base back up after expanding it out and dropping the pressure. So we'll just throw a lot more oxide in there, and we'll do it in chunks and give it a chance to warm back up so we don't drop it too quickly down. Yeah, it's kind of close to the. It's over 50, so the plants are happy. But I want to keep it a little higher, and figure 2 would be. We're gonna finally. I should have done this a long time ago. I'm going to build some lockers for outside of the base where I do all the smelting. Okay, so it now it's cold, so it's turned off, and now it's pumping all the gas out of that line by design. So we're going to print up some 4 lockers. We'll put 2 on either side of the airlock. Then we have keep printing those hydroponic trays, so keep that going. And yeah, I think which obviously generate tons of O2, tons of food. We don't need those anymore. Just looking around, make sure everything's happy. That fell over. Which reminded me, I need to make that battery. So what we'll do is, since we expanded it, we'll put a battery on the other side, and then because we're easily charging the one battery during the day cycle. So we'll add a second battery, and then we'll split the load. I typically don't go crazy with the batteries, but I also don't want to just run the whole base off one. Things I stick it into the frame. Like, oh, that's a little cheesy, so we'll leave it outside the frame. Okay, so now we can sort our ore and not carry so much around with us. Put the weird stuff over here. And grab the nickel, move nickel on the other side. And we can't store any ice in here because it will melt. I'm not sure if I close it. If I only do it at nighttime and close, I haven't tried that. I know if I put ice in there, open it up during the day, it will melt. I should probably take that nitrous ice I have sitting in and toss it into the furnace next time I get done smelting. Hopefully remind myself to that. So I get done smelting, I'll toss it in there, and that way it just goes into the tank and then get filtered out and get it out of my inventory. A little more useful over here. Poke at that without looking at taking out my tablet. Okay, got a little more room now, and found a bunch of lead. I didn't actually turn on the beacon, so I just went out in a certain direction. I think I went out at coordinate 0 and just travel in that direction, and then go in one direction, dig around, and that way I can always go back in the opposite direction. I didn't plan to go out that far. And I stated before, I tried to get a little bit away from the base before mine. You know, I'm surprised the amount of ore is on the moon. I didn't realize. I mean, it goes deep. You go down really far, and there's ore, tons of ore, which I guess is by design since it's the starting planet. But I didn't realize how much ore there was. There's like a lot of ore here. All right, so now we got a bunch of lead. That's good. We can make much more solder. Is there anything else we can make with lead besides? No, I think that's it. I think the only thing lead's good for is solder. It's not used in any super alloys, just solder. Okay. Well, we can make a bunch of solder. Yeah, those lockers I should have been done like, episode 1 type thing. So, all right, future runs, build lockers outside sooner. Okay, we can stretch our legs in here now. There we got a battery. We're gonna need some steel sheets, not frames, sheets. Drop some more ice in here and get the pressure up. I mean, the pressure is fine in the range it is. But, yeah, another thing on the long list of things to do is have an atmospheric automation that will monitor, the gases and also look for pollutants. So if it finds pollutants, it'll automatically kick in some filtration devices to pull that out, and then also start extracting some of the excess O2 out of the room and just storing that away. Yeah, big chunk of solder. We're gonna have a whole bunch more solder later on. I put the solder in the wrong one. I should have gone in that one. Dump all the junk out. So we're making a beacon. So we'll attach the beacon to the other battery. So, and that way it's outside. So I can either leave it on all the time, or I'll just flip it on. It's outside now, so it's easier just to flip it on before you go mining and then flip it off when you come back on. Versus having it inside, which means if it's inside, every time I go outside, I go, crap, did I turn it on? Did I not turn it on? And the nice thing about the beacon, when you're far away, you'll see this little bright point of light. So for the most part, you never have to use the tracker again. You just look around and see that little bright light from the beacon, and you know which way to go, which is probably its most important function. And we go ahead and print up some more solar units, so we have a little more room on the roof there. And let's see what's going on here. Yeah, CO2 is definitely not a lot. Downside of all those plants is they go through a lot of CO2, and of course the soybeans go through nitrogen. So once we start collecting all that CO2 and get it down to a reasonable temperature, what I'm going to do in the next episode, I'm going to run a pipe from that tank into this room, and I can control it, turn it on and off. I'll start doing it manually initially, but until it gets automated control. All right, so I'm going to do sort of a mirror of the other battery. So we'll just kind of... So in both cases, the battery is next to the edge and the power goes down the center. I'm getting better at not forgetting the steel plates, steel sheets. Still running all this off of standard cable. I think we're still within that threshold. Well, if we're not, we'll find out real quick, won't we? All right, so we'll run this around the back. I initially thought run down the edge, and then I go ahead. The other one doesn't go down the edge, and I want to keep that edge free in case I need to run something else through there. So we'll just loop it around like this. Now we won't get a charge right now because the sun's not up. And so since we have a little more room up on the roof here, we'll put the beacon here. Turn that on. Obviously no power yet, but I forget how much it uses, but I believe it's a bit. Now these are all kind of slammed together, so like when the sun comes up and goes down, they're blocking each other. But when it hit, more the midday area, then they're all running up at full power. I'm aware of this and I don't care. So typically if you gap them by one row, then they do pretty well in the morning and evening. But then of course you lose out of density during the afternoon time frame. So, and we're not really having an issue with power, so we'll just cram them up here and go with that. Maximize our peak day power. Yeah, I decided to pull that odd one off the end there and just, even though technically it's better where it's at, it's more efficient, but sometimes a symmetrical design is better than efficiency. Now I want to put a solar plant somewhere, get it off the roof and put it somewhere. I haven't decided where I want to put that. I don't want to block the view of the windows in the front, so I guess behind me is the only place to really go so it's not visible from the inside. Now I got to name them. I'm just checking the name of the other one so I match the name. So 180 and another 180. And we got two more, print up two more solar units and put them up here, and we got a spot for, we'll fix this a little. Keep it neat and tidy up here. Just double checking everything's turned on. And go ahead and swap those batteries while we're going through here. Turn that one off because we have another one on the roof. And let's drop a little bit more in here. And we need to set their names. Since the other ones are solar 180, these be the opposite of solar 0. Going ahead and do some mining now since I need to stock up. Get some smelting going on here. Now I'm heading out at direction 0 for the most part. I figured I'd kind of head out at 0 and then come back at 180. And that's more enough to find the base. Not going that far, but it turns out when I turn around to go ahead and come back, I see the beacon finally got powered and it's real obvious. So just double checking my directions, make sure I don't. Stock up copper. Need copper, need iron. Maybe a little more coal. You can see that beacon before the base shows up. Although apparently they have a fix in the works that will change the distance that you can see things, so you can crank that way up. So we're slowing back down to normal speeds. A nice little view of the base. Just checking everything out, and the battery's already got 2 blocks on it. We'll just turn this off just so we can get that battery charged up. Okay, so we're about to end this episode. What we're going to do now, we're just going to finish up sorting this ore out and then go into the airlocked, and we're done with this episode. Until next time, see ya.